A family fights for their lives during a devastating natural disaster. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of action and thriller film today. Greenland, production year 2020. John Allen Garrity, a structural engineer, is shown in the opening moments of the movie looking over a building's blueprints. Later, he returns home to his son Nathan, who has diabetes and uses an insulin pump to walk around, and his divorced wife Allison. Even though John and Allison are having a hard time, they try not to show it to Nathan. The major headline currently making waves in the news is Clark, a comet anticipated to traverse the Earth's atmosphere. The Garrity family is organizing a gathering with friends and neighbors to observe Clark's passage. While John is out purchasing groceries, he receives a presidential alert on his phone indicating that he, along with Allison and Nathan, has been chosen for relocation to a secure bunker. On his way home, he notices military vans passing by. When John arrives to inform Allison, the visitors have already arrived. They watch the news reports about Clark's partial submersion into the water. Suddenly, there's a little tremble. John feels a tremendous shock wave as soon as he steps outside. He hears the news as he rushes back inside the house that the fragment has struck Florida. A video captures the catastrophic effect and subsequent shock wave. Then the presidential alert comes on TV, reminding everyone of the situation and telling the Garritys to report to Robins Air Force Base so that they can catch the flights to the bunkers. As they begin to leave, John helps Allison and Nathan gather their belongings and place them in a single bag. Ed, their neighbor, alerts John to the fact that Clark is a massive jumble of pieces similar to what struck Florida. Another neighbor, Deborah, begs the Garritys to take her daughter Ellie as they are leaving, but John knows the girl will be turned away, so the family must regretfully leave them behind. The Garrity family makes their way toward the base but gets stuck in a long traffic jam, forcing them to leave their car behind. Unfortunately, Nathan had taken his blanket but accidentally left his medication in the vehicle. A large crowd has formed, all eager to board the planes. Once the family manages to enter the base with their wristbands, they quickly realize that the medicine is missing from their bag. John heads back to retrieve it, but when Allison mentions Nathan's health issue to a soldier, they are directed to Major Breen. Breen informs Allison that individuals with conditions like diabetes cannot board the plane. Despite Allison's heartfelt pleas for reconsideration, there's nothing she can do. Believing that John has already boarded, Allison tries to have them reach out to him, but her efforts are in vain. Upon his return, John attempts to board a plane without considering that Allison and Nathan are on a different aircraft. When a fellow traveler sees John carrying the prescription, he informs John of the law regarding individuals with disabilities. Just as the mob tries to storm the planes by breaking through the gates, he asks to be let off the aircraft. One of the base employees drops a fuel pump as a result of others shooting at them with guns. Just before the gasoline ignites, John calls for everyone to depart. Just as the plane explodes, everyone rushes toward the gates, and two more blow up, killing a lot of people. John rushes back to the car after making it outside in time. Allison and Nathan discover that their car has been broken into. She writes a note for John, instructing him to meet them at her father's house in Lexington, Kentucky. John finds the note and sets off to join them. Meanwhile, Allison takes Nathan to a store that is currently being looted to find some medicine for him. Suddenly, gunmen burst in and start shooting at several people. Allison pushes her way to the front, where a man blocks her path. Desperate to save Nathan, she begs for their lives, and the man surprisingly allows them to leave. She then reunites with a woman named Judy and persuades her husband Ralph to give them a ride, but only as far as Knoxville, Tennessee. John continues to walk through the city and encounters more thieves as well as a view of more pieces of Clark flying through the air. He attempts to get a reception so he can call Allison by stopping by a rooftop party. They converse briefly before hanging up. In her conversation, conversation with Ralph and Judy, Allison mentions that her family was chosen but was turned away. At that point, Ralph seems to have an idea and stops to try to help Allison out. She battles him, but in the end, she is defeated and her wristband is abandoned while Ralph and Judy take Nathan away. For a while, Allison wanders aimlessly until a family in a minivan stops to pick her up and drives her to the airport, knowing that's where Ralph and Judy are going. A truck carrying people en route to Canada is discovered by John after the driver offers to drop him off in Lexington. He meets a young man named Colin, who informs him that despite the locations being classified, the planes in Canada are believed to be flying to the bunkers that are purportedly in Greenland. After John finds out he was chosen, another passenger, Lucas, becomes enraged with him because he believes that only citizens of the United States should have been chosen. John is Scottish. He and his friend Micah start fighting with John after he demands the wristband. The truck swerves off the road due to the fight, killing Colin in the collision. John keeps putting Lucas's hammer into his skull as he battles Micah and Lucas. Horrified, he walks away. When traffic stops them on their way to the airport, Allison bolts from the van. Ralph and Judy have made it to the base further up, where they attempt to enter by passing Nathan off as their son using the wristbands. After informing the soldier that he has been abducted, Nathan leaves with the soldier while the couple is being held. Just before Allison arrives at the medical camp, he is taken there. She passes through a few tents with the assistance of a soldier before meeting Nathan again. John enters an abandoned neighborhood the next morning and breaks into a house in search of food and water. Turning on the TV, he watches news of more catastrophic effects occurring all over the world, along with the news of the worst of Clark, which is predicted to strike Europe the following day and kill over 75 million people in addition to 70% of plant and animal life. He heads to Allison's father Dale's house after robbing a car. Allison eventually calls the house to arrange to be picked up by Nathan at the end of the street. Dale discovers there are still problems between John and Allison after returning. It is revealed that a long time ago, when their marriage was beginning to falter, John had an affair. John says he regrets what he did. The family tries to come to terms with the fact that they will probably pass away in a day as they continue to watch news. John then decides to try and arrive in time after recalling what Colin told him about the planes heading to Greenland. Dale is given the option to accompany them, but he chooses to stay in his home and accept his death. Traveling to Canada in Dale's truck, the Garrity family sets out. They hear a radio report of molten debris approaching as they travel as far as upstate New York. Rain of fireballs falls on passing vehicles and humans. John guides Nathan and Allison to hide beneath a bridge. While they wait out the mayhem, he even assists a man who is stuck in his car in getting to safety. The family moves on with their journey once everything has calmed down, arriving at the runway right before the aircraft takes off. John uses his truck to obstruct the plane until the pilot emerges to address John. John tells him to only take Nathan and Allison when he informs the family that the plane is full, but Allison persuades the pilot to allow them all to board. The plane reaches Greenland in time to see another fragment strike the coast, sending a shockwave that sends the aircraft crashing. Even though both pilots are dead, the main pilot signals to John that there must be bunkers nearby because another plane is landing close by. The last of Clark is about to strike very soon, so John leads his family and the other passengers toward the airbase and they are all led underground. As the effect is felt, the Garritys give each other an embrace. 9 months later, Greenland is contacted by other stations in various parts of the world, including Sydney, New Delhi, Paris, and others. The survivors can now venture outside into what's left of the world as the radioactive atmosphere begins to clear. They rejoice at seeing birds flying by, and the Garritys join them. And showing this story ends here. Thanks for watching.